Hey you guys, welcome to Good Vibes Sunday. So over the week I actually posted on my Insta story, so if you're a follower you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I posted some polls, and what these are opportunities for people to vote. And I asked you all, what would you like me to talk about for Good Vibes Sunday? Am I continuously doing and kind of touching on things that you all want to hear? And I'm happy to say that a lot of the feedback has been in line with what I've been doing. So I'm really excited about that. A lot of you are very interested in lifestyle, my lifestyle, and are interested in home decor, which is, of course, my passion. And so I'm going to continuously do that. You know, when I started Good Vibes Sunday, the whole intention behind it was to create a space that you all can come in on Sunday or whenever you choose to tune in and just slip on your PJs or whatever it is that you're wearing for the day to get comfy, and put on your earphones and tune in. You know, making it audio has made it a lot easier for me to translate exactly what I want to say and how I can turn in my experiences into positive ones and be able to translate that to you. So it's been awesome to have your feedback, so I'm very appreciative about that. So today I'm actually going to be talking about design. And, you know, I always say that you can be the designer of your own home. As an interior designer, the reason people hire us is to translate. I feel like people pay for our translation. So we translate what our clients want to see in their home, what they want to feel, and how they want to translate their story. But I feel like as a homeowner, you know, you can do some of this stuff by yourselves, and I'm going to teach you all today with like 13 steps how you can do this and how I can make it easy for you all, just to kind of get a gauge on how you can do this for yourself and for your family and for your home. All right guys, so let's get to it. All right, you guys, so it is spring. Spring has blossomed. And with that comes spring cleaning. I believe that before you start designing any room or any home, you have to declutter. So obviously if you're moving into a brand new home, then there's no decluttering, there's no cleaning up. But if for your personal home, you're planning on either redecorating, renovating, whatever it is you're doing, you have to tackle the clutter. And a good way to do this is by reading the book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. So I first heard of this book through another friend of mine who, she posted it on Instagram, and I was like, okay, I don't know if you all have Audible, but I have Audible on Amazon. It's an audio book service where you can go ahead, and it goes by credits, so you download books and you can listen to them. So for me, I'm always on the go, so this works out perfectly. It's actually why I was inspired to start a podcast for you all to be able to tune in while you're on the go, or, you know, if you don't want to be reading, you can just, it's easier just to tune in. So without steering too far from my point here is that this book really helped me because Adam and I, gosh, we've traveled so much in the past that we got into a habit of just kind of, you know, collecting and accumulating and then just packing away and then keep going. And we didn't really ever have a chance to stop and kind of, you know, focus in on what do we need and does this promote any joy and function in our life and purpose. And so we actually, especially with staging and stuff like that, I mean, we've collected so much stuff. So I'm telling you all from experience, and I'm not pretending that I'm not you know, at fault of this. But yeah, no, absolutely. If you're going to be designing your home or, you know, just putting beautiful elements into your home, the first step really is to tackle the clutter, to go through all your stuff. And I'm telling you guys, I just started doing this last week where I really started to, I've done this over, you know, the past course of time, but her book has helped me to actually create a way of being able to have it really stick. Because if you're anything like me, I've done it before where I'll go through and I tackle the mess or I tackle the, you know, the clutter, and then a few months later, it's all right back in its place. I mean, I've accumulated more, and it's just for you to really create a space that you want to decorate or renovate and that is going to promote happiness and joy and calm and serenity. you have to start with the decluttering. I mean, it's a big deal, and this book is a really great way to start, guys. So for a copy of the book or to download it on Audible, I will go ahead and I'll link it below. All right, guys, so that's number 1. Number 2 would be start by knowing that whether you want to or not, you are creating a mood or a feeling which tells your story. And I always say it's your story, so tell it. You know, your home is a space that when you walk in, if it's a blank canvas, okay? So let's say that you've gotten rid of old furniture, or, you know, you're working with some of it, but you're starting from fresh, brand new. And you want to create a space that reflects you, that promotes happiness for you, serenity for your family, etc., etc. So knowing that you are in direct proportion to what you create in your own space is so important. I feel like a lot of people go out and they just start shopping, you know, or there's no intention or there's no thought process behind, you know, just how they're going to create their space. They go and pick out pieces of furniture just because they like them or because they're beautiful. And then they come home and then they put them out and that's it, you know, and that's it. That's literally it. And, you know, I'm not here to say that's wrong. I'm just here to say that if you want to create a space that is beautiful and that feels designed, then there are steps to take. Look, if you're listening to this and you're tuning in, then obviously you're here to learn something, right? So I always say is that by knowing that you are creating a mood, a story, and you are telling it, is so important. And when creating spaces, you have got to come in with that mindset, because if you don't, you're just going to create a space and it's not going to be your own. It's not going to reflect you. It's not going to be really designed and just collected and beautiful. It really is just going to be an accumulation of things. So very, very important. Come in with that mindset. Understand that you're telling a story, you're creating a mood, and knowing that is a complete must. All right, guys? So the next one, so let's say you've already decluttered, you've established the idea that you are creating your own space and that you are telling a story. You've got that in your mind. Now it's time to draw inspiration, to open your eyes to what's around you, pay attention to what inspires you, what catches your eye, what promotes joy, what fits into your lifestyle. So draw inspiration. For me, I always say it's like, you know, I don't care if it's, I don't know, just fashion. Like fashion for me is a huge one. I always say that fashion and interior design are very much integrated. I love them both so much. It's funny, I have sketches from when I was really young, and I always show Adam when I find them. I'm like, look, I used to want to be an interior designer or a fashion designer, but it really started with fashion for me. I love fashion so much because I feel like there's no limits. It's such an expression of yourself and textures and colors, and I mean, it's just so fun. So the same thing is true with your home, you know, with your home decor. It's the same exact thing. I draw inspiration from everything around, cultures, nature, whatever it is that draws me right away to something. I am so inspired, and that should be the same and true for you. Now, if you're wondering what I mean by inspiration, I mean, what colors are you going to use? Palettes, textures. What essence of something do you want to recreate? What is it that you feel most drawn to about something, whatever that thing is? And how can you recreate that to bring it into your own space? All right, so now that you have your inspiration, it's time to pick a style or two. You know, it's okay to meld and to combine two styles. For example, in my home, I have a Spanish style home. I always say listen to the architecture and then go from there. So if you have two styles, or try to stick to two. I never try to promote going over that. But just try to stick to two styles, and don't be afraid to combine them. As long as you're combining them tastefully, I think that it's absolutely okay. And just to kind of meld them in, and that's what I'm doing here. I have a Spanish home. I'm listening to the architecture for sure. I want to stay true to it, but at the same time, I want it also to reflect me. And not that Spanish doesn't reflect me, but I also want to be able to emphasize some modern elements that are so close to my heart. I mean, I love modern. Adam and I both do, and we want to be able to kind of have fun with it and create something special that we both can connect to. So it's very important to do that. And by you guys jumping on Google, it's a good way also to kind of see. So once you've said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do Tudor style, let's just say, you jump on Google, you look up Tudor style, and really follow examples of like texture, color, accessories, furniture. What are they doing? What are they using? What are curves in the walls? Are there arches? Are there this? Are there that? So it's really a great foundation for you to start by knowing what the architecture of your home is, and then going from that direction, going on Google and really looking at those elements are really going to help you establish a foundation for you to get started. And also I always say is pick the good and leave the bad. So don't rely 100% on Google. Don't, try to copy everything you see. Try to make it your own space, but still just have a foundation and use it more as a guideline versus, kind of like copying everything you see. All right, guys, so this next one is so crucial. This is what's going to set you apart from the people that don't put any thought process into design versus, you creating a space that's really thought out and really well designed, and that is creating a mood board. If you don't know Photoshop, a lot of people are like intimidated to create mood boards, especially electronic ones. So like, the ones that you see people post on blogs or just like on Etsy, not even Etsy, what do I see them? I see them on blogs mostly. People post them on blogs and on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. But what I'm talking about are these mood boards. If you haven't seen them, they typically have like a white background, and then they'll have just like a chair and maybe a rug and everything just kind of cluttered together for each room. And people are always asking me like, how do you get rid of the background, or do you Photoshop that? It's like, well, you don't need to know Photoshop. A good way to do this is to jump on PowerPoint. And I say like create a presentation for your home. So each room will be a slide. And what you do is you take a photo. Let's say you find something online, or you physically take a photo of it at the store or whatever it is. So you get that item, and then you copy paste it onto the slide, and then you double click. So very important, double click on it. And once you've double clicked on the photo, there will be an icon on the side at the top bar that will say remove background. So remove background. So you tap on that, and then you stretch out. I'm going to show you guys how to do this. I'm actually going to make a video. I know I said I was going to make a video also on scale, so I'm behind on that, and I will be doing that this week, you guys, so I promise on that. But I'm also going to make a video on this because I think it's so important for regular folks just to understand how to do these mood boards. Like, people get so intimidated, but they're really not that hard. So remember, you go on PowerPoint, make a slide, copy paste the image, and then double click on it, and then go onto the toolbar at the top where it says remove background. So again, I'll go ahead and make a video for you guys to do this, but that's a really good way to put items together and just see what they're going to look like before you either purchase them, or if you've already purchased them and you plan on buying, let's say, new flooring or whatever it is, a new paint color, and you want to see what it all kind of looks like together. It's a fantastic way. Another way to do this is to order samples. So not another way, actually you should be doing both, but order samples and create physical mood boards. So you're getting your samples of tile, of window shades, of paint, swatches of paint. Put this all together and create these mood boards for the home's essence. I always say for the home's entirety, right? So for your kitchen, for example, what mood do you want to create? You have to create a mood that is in line with all the color schemes and textures that you want to go with. And so putting all these elements together, like a tile and shades and colors of wood or whatever it is physically in front of you, is the best way to go about this. So below, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to link some of my favorites, places that I've used to order some samples, because that's another question I've gotten. And I know that I even had this question when I first started designing. I was like, where do I get these samples? Like, I see people with samples. I'm like, where do I buy these, or where do I get these? So I'm going to go ahead down below and I'm going to link some of my favorite places to get some samples for you guys all to try out. I'm also going to be actually putting an example of a mood board, a digital one, so you can get a visual of what I mean by stacking or kind of layering these samples digitally together and how to remove that background, what I mean by removing the background anyway. So reference that down below. Now you must be asking, well, I'm creating these mood boards and samples, etc., but where do I buy this stuff? So this is the golden question, and I treat this the same as I treat fashion. I say high and low, and what I mean by that is shop high end, shop low end, mix them. So if I'm wearing like a Forever 21 shirt, I'm going to throw in some higher end bottoms and then a vintage purse, you know? So I try to stay as much away as I can from the big box stores. If I need something very specific, I will get them from there, but I'm very much about collectiveness. So if you have something from a big box store, let's say from Target, then most likely, you know, your neighbor or whoever, your friend comes over and she's like, oh, I saw that at Target. And it's like, there's no fun in that. Not saying that you should stay completely away. I think that sometimes you need something specific and you can find it from a big box store, and I think that's okay. But the trick to that is to mix in the vintage, to mix in those cool, fun finds, and also mix in some higher end stuff. Sometimes there are, let's say, a sofa or anything, and I'll get to that later because that's actually one of my, on my list. But the biggest thing is to find things that are like online, for example, online shopping at boutique stores or Etsy, where you can get something custom and kind of like cool and fun that not everybody has. Your vintage finds, of course, flea markets. I mean, there are tons and tons of places that you can get things that are just more specific to you and that are just rare, and not everybody's going to walk in and be like, oh, I've seen that. It's actually going to be like, oh, wow, I've never seen something like that. Where'd you get it? What's the story behind it? And it can be a real statement piece. All right, so for my next point, I want to stay in line with collectiveness. I want you all to really understand that a well-designed home, to me and to a lot of designers, is really to have a home that feels collected. And that doesn't happen overnight. You know, being a designer, we're expected to come in and we have timelines to finish up and to design homes, but I feel like the real designing begins after us. I feel like we come in, we kind of guide you all, but really what sets the tone for the home, what really is going to bring true happiness to that homeowner, are the pieces that they're going to bring from their travels, their memories that they're going to attach to these pieces, and those are the things that don't happen overnight. Remember, you're telling your story, you're not running a race here, guys, and that takes time. It takes, you know, collectiveness. It happens over a period of time and not just, you know, I've noticed so many people that come in and they're like, oh, I want to, you know, just got a home, I have to hurry up and get it designed or get it, you know, decorated, and that's not the case. Take your time. It's okay. You know, make this space your home and tell a real story, guys. Okay, so here's another one, accessories. And I've talked about accessories before. I've associated with them with scale, and I've said that it's so important to understand scale. And I've actually promised you all that I would make a video, and I haven't, but I will this week. I promise. We've just been so busy, guys, but I will. This is so important. Like, I can't emphasize enough how important scale is. So I always say, it's like, don't go out and buy like a bunch of small pieces when it comes to accessories. Buy statement pieces. Buy these things. These are the things that you're going to find at your antique shops, your vintage places, your flea markets, etc. And you really want to find pieces that are statements and that aren't just tiny little things that are accumulating and just, I don't know, you don't want to create clutter, guys. So you know, a really good example about this is like functionality, right? So you're getting accessories that are not just beautiful, but they're functional. So a big one for me is like bowls. I put a bowl at every, I put one like in my entryway. I put one next to my bed, so on my nightstand, I put one next to my bed, and I put one on Adam's side as well. And he's told me, he goes, these dang bowls that you put around the house have been so functional, because like at night he'll take off his ring, he'll take off his watch, and he'll just like put it in a bowl. And he knows it's there every night, versus before I did the bowl thing, he didn't know where to put it, so he put like his chapstick there and stuff, and he always finds it there. So it's functional, and it's actually a really pretty bowl, so it just serves. And then same thing with the entry, you put your keys there and stuff like that. So really put some thought into your accessories. I know that accessories can be one of the most daunting things, because, you know, furniture, it's like one piece or two pieces, and accessories, it gets kind of tricky. It's kind of like the jewelry to your outfit. So obviously make them purposeful, and also just make them a statement. Don't accumulate just a bunch of things just because they're pretty. Really make them a statement, really have some relationship with these elements, and have them promote, like I said, as always, joy. When you look at them, you're like, dang, those look good. All right, so as we come to the end here, I'm almost done. There's just a few more, you guys. And one of those being to really splurge on key pieces. So this would be your sofa, your dining room table, chairs, for example. The reason that I say this is because I feel like those are the elements, or not the elements, but the pieces that you can always repurpose. So spend some money on those. Like if you get a dining room table and it's a wooden one, you can always refinish it later. You can restain it and kind of have a different look to it. But the biggest thing is that these are pieces that are used on a day-to-day basis, and they need to serve their purpose. And so a lot of times when we try to take shortcuts, they end up breaking, or they end up just looking like crap later on, you know, like you're going to have to replace that anyway later. So you might as well spend a little more on those things that you can always repurpose. And in the end, you're saving more money. You can always reupholster a sofa. You can reupholster a nice chair, but just splurge on those big pieces. Accessories, those can always be interchanged, and they should be. But definitely your bigger pieces, your key pieces, you should spend a little more on those. On to the next. So this is a very important one to me, and I promote this all the time. Avoid trends. Trends are there to make you buy things and make you feel bad when you don't. So don't do it. Trends come and go, you guys, and you want your home to really pass that test of time and to really be beautiful to you down the line versus, you bought something because you saw it and you thought it was nice. Like, I'm very much an advocate of, like, don't buy something just because it's nice. Don't buy something just because someone told you to buy it, or don't buy something because, you look down at your social media feed and your favorite follower, interior designer, is putting a vase and you kind of just want to do it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Buy things that promote happiness, that you absolutely love, that you're like, wow, I freaking found this at a vintage store and I absolutely love it. So do that, you guys. Don't follow trends. They come and go for a reason, and there's big marketing behind it, so don't fall victim to that. Another thing with trends is that if you have it, most likely tons and tons and tons of people have it too, and that's never fun. I mean, you want your space to be original and very unique to you, and you're not like everybody, so don't do it. Alright, so I might get some controversy for this next one, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but beige and browns and stuff like that, like speckled brown granite, is no longer a thing, you guys. And now, if that's your deal, if that promotes happiness for you, hey, by all means, please, go for it. Yeah, and it goes in line with what I just said about trends. I mean, you'd be like, well, you just said don't follow trends. It's not really about trends. It's also staying with the times. Trends, I mean by, like, if floral wallpaper is the deal right now, like, I'm talking about those bold things that you see out there, and people are like, just everybody's doing it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, boho right now is like a trend. I feel like don't just if you are in a traditional, beautiful Cape Cod home, don't make your house boho just because everybody else is doing it. But I am saying about, like, color schemes and materials and those types of things, stay with the times. Not only is it something that will promote happiness in the sense of just knowing that you're with the times, and it should make you happy to know that your home is up to date, but just in general for resale value and all of those things that kind of bring value to your home, it's really important to stay with the times. And living here in Riverside, a lot of homes that I have seen, not a lot, I mean like 90% of the homes, and we've seen a lot of homes, having access to homes, Supras, which are boxes that have keys when a home is being sold. Anyway, but, I've seen tons and tons of homes, and every home I see, if it's updated, so it's one or two things, all right, you guys? So stay with me. It's one or two things. It's either beiges and browns, like mocha colored floors with it's like very 2000s and somethings. So an example of this would be like, I don't know, the brown speckled granite countertops and mocha colored floors, like then mocha stained wood and then just wrought iron, those types of things. And then you can go the other direction, where I've seen that a lot of flippers do this. and it's the go-to, and I don't understand it, but it's like gray. So it's like a gray laminate, white quartz countertops, and then the shaker cabinets, and they do it because everybody loves it. No, you guys, don't do that. Like, do something that is different. Like, I don't know, I'm trying to help you guys understand that it's never gonna feel like a fun, curated space if it looks like what everybody else is doing. It should look like something that you designed, something that is special, that you don't walk in and say, wow, I've seen this everywhere else. You know what I mean? So really create spaces that are just of your own, and that you've drawn inspiration from different elements and different textures and things and inspirations, and that you've drawn from them. Just don't fall victim of trends, please. All right, so you are now decorating your home, you've got your inspiration, you've got your mood boards, you're understanding the concept of not following trends, you've gone to your vintage shops, etc., etc., etc. All right, so now it's time for your final touches. And this means, I always say it's like candles and flowers. Make your home spiritually uplifting. You would be surprised at just how beautiful a space can look by adding like a big bouquet of beautiful flowers from your garden, or from, I don't know, your neighbor's garden, or just from somewhere. Because, and here's the thing, guys, is vases, everybody always goes with the clear vase. And I don't understand that. There are so many vases out there that I've seen that, why do you want to show the stems? What if you cut them too short, or the water's turning brown? It's like, think outside the box. Get a vase that isn't a standard vase, that isn't white, that you get at Albertsons or your local, store, but maybe a cool stone vase that you picked up at your local nursery. And speaking of nurseries, I love going to my local nursery and picking up bowls from there. A lot of times people think that nurseries only sell plants, but they actually sell, not all, but for the most part, the ones that I've been to, they sell bowls, or they'll sell planters, of course, and pots and stuff. And I love grabbing bowls from there. I love actually grabbing, I forget what they're called, but they're the big bowls that you put under a pot for them to like catch the water, and so it doesn't spill everywhere. I actually use those as bowls in my home. I actually grabbed one. It was a terracotta one. It was so pretty. But I grabbed it, and it was actually for a pot, and I grabbed it and I spray painted it black. So it gave it that cool rough texture from the terracotta, but then the color wasn't matching what I needed. So I sprayed it, and I put these fun wooden beads on it, and I have it on one of my console tables, and I absolutely love it. It's actually one of my favorite pieces, just because it's fun. It's something I made, and yeah, you guys, I always tell everybody, please have spray paint in your home, like black and white spray paint. Don't go painting things yellow or red, but like black and white spray paint. And don't be afraid if you buy something at a big box store or anywhere else, that if it's a certain color, or you don't like the color of the metal or whatever it is, change it, spray it, make it yours, because a lot of times not everything's going to be custom to what you want, so you can actually manipulate that and change it. I've actually made a post about spray painting something to make it like a brassy golden color, and what my favorite color of spray paint is for golds, so I could actually link that below as well. So just don't be afraid to spray paint things. It's a fun way to customize something and make it your own. All right, guys, so that's it. You are a designer. Nothing to it, right? No, but just to cover every point that I touched on, so let's begin with number one, cleaning your home, understanding that every well-designed home starts with a clean one. And number two, start by knowing what you're creating, knowing that you're creating a mood and having the right mindset, and knowing that you're creating a story and you're going to be telling it through the elements that you choose. Number three, inspiration. Finding that inspiration that's out in the world, opening your eyes to that. Number four, pick a style or two. Number five, create a mood board, a digital one and a physical one. And remember, a lot of this stuff's going to be referenced down below. So number 6 and number 7 go really hand in hand. And what that is just to try not to focus just on big box stores and really to mix the two, to shop high and low end and make your home feel collected. Remember, you're not running a race. You're telling your story with the designs of your home. Number 8, we covered accessories, how to consider scale, just to have function to some of your accessories that are, I gave the example of the bowls that I put next to on our nightstand, next to our bed, etc., etc. Number 9 was to splurge on key pieces, furniture like dining room tables, sofas, and it will save you more money in the end to spend a little more on these pieces that you use on a day-to-day basis. Number 10 is lighting, to steer away from conventional but stay in line and keep some balance there. Number 11, avoid trends, just don't do it. Number 12, just stay with the times as far as, the beiges and wrought irons and all those are no longer, and it's just important to stay with the times. And lastly, but certainly not least, your final touches like your flowers and your candles and stuff that really will bring full circle all the design elements in your home. Alright guys, so I hope a lot of this stuff helps you guys out in really deciding a space that you can call your own, and I'm going to leave you all with that. I'm going to have a real moment, and I'm just going to say, I think that after every podcast I should have a real moment and kind of tell you guys how I feel, and right now I'm feeling kind of crappy. I don't know what happened between starting and finishing, but I feel like I'm getting kind of like the onsets of feeling a little sick, but this week has been, I feel like we're getting so busy with our business, and without going too much into detail and kind of steering off everything design because it has nothing to do with it, but just I've been feeling off course, and I think that it has a lot to do with, I think our home right now, so I've talked about this on my social media platforms, but we're redesigning a bedroom. It's actually our 3rd bedroom of our home, and we're redesigning it. We're completely tearing down the ceiling, the walls, and everything that was in there is just out on in our family room. It's just chilling there. So I feel like I've told you guys that when it comes to designing, having a clutter-free space is so important. And that's why I got myself that book, and I listened to it, because now that everything's out in my living room, I can kind of go through it, and I'm really donating, and I'm really practicing this whole idea of decluttering, but my gosh, is it taking a toll on me? I feel like every time I come in my house, I just see this stuff, and I'm like, and it does. It affects my mood. It affects even just, I feel like Adam and I have been bickering more and more. It's without going into detail about my relationship here, but yeah, we've been bickering quite a bit lately, and it's really draining, and I think that it has a lot to do with our lives are getting a lot busier, and we're taking on so much more responsibility. While it's all really exciting, it's also just overwhelming, and I think pretty soon here we'll start having to hire some help and hopefully grow a lot less stressed out. So anyway, that was just a side note. It has nothing to do with design, but I always like to be pretty transparent with you guys and explain to you how I'm feeling, and just show you guys that I'm a real person. Nothing here is ever perfect, and every day is work, and I just hope you guys all have a really good Sunday, and everything I talked about today as far as design goes, I hope it helps some of you with getting started and feeling confident about creating spaces in your own home. All right, guys? So don't forget to tune in next week, and I will be catching you guys all then. Have a happy Sunday, guys.